Glenn, thank you. And now back to the national story that's playing out right here in our area. Witnesses are now being called to the stand in the Ryan Ruth trial. He's the man charged with attempting to assassinate then presidential candidate Donald Trump last year.
Our anchors Aaron Guy and Felicia Rodriguez join us live from the federal courthouse. Aaron and Felicia, opening statements wrapped up a little while ago. Explain to us what happened.
Well, let me tell you, it started right at 9 a.m. and just after 10 a.m., it abruptly was cut off and they were ready to call the first witness. You were there right at 9 a.m. when the prosecution started their opening statements, which they kind of stuck to the traditional timeline and so forth.
Absolutely. U.S. Attorney Assistant John Shipley, he basically laid out why it is that he believes that they will find that Ryan Ruth had planned to kill Donald Trump, that he says the evidence will show that Ryan Ruth actually did reconnaissance. He came down to the West Palm Beach area several months before that September 15th date, and that he scouted out locations. They also went on to say that Ryan Ruth should be found guilty of attempting to assassinate the president. He was abruptly stopped, though, when he hit his mark, because we know the judge in this case has basically given them about 45 minutes for opening statements. He went about a minute over. She abruptly stopped him. He wasn't allowed to finish. He was done. And then it was time for Ryan Ruth.
Yeah, of course, they took the jury out. Ruth was able to get settled. They brought the jury back in. I was able to enter the courtroom at that time. And this was, to say the least, an interesting interaction. It was, he started by apologizing, saying, "I'm sorry you have to be here." He said that he was going to read from a document that he had prepared. And he started going down a path talking about why are we here, why are we in this spot, and it continued for about 5 minutes.
It was more like a dissertation of the human species and from the very beginning of life, and then he went on to talk about, what will happen to humans, in 1.5 million years. And at that point, about 3 minutes into him speaking, the judge stopped him.
And I think, Felicia, what really stopped was he started to talk about some of the world crises past and future, mentioned Hitler, Putin, even the election. That's when she stopped. The jury was taken out. She warned him, "You're not following the rules of the court."
Well, she said what he was saying was irrelevant to the trial.
Irrelevant.
And she warned him, she gave him an order. Your opening statements are supposed to introduce the evidence that you're going to be presenting in trial. You need to stick to that. And he seemed to agree. He said, "Okay, Your Honor, I will." And when the jury was brought back in, he began his opening statements again, and that lasted for about 5 minutes. At one point, Ryan Ruth got emotional.
He got a little choked up, he did, and it was quickly after that. She said, "All right, thank you, Mr. Ruth, your opening statement's over." The jury exited. He said, "Well, can I read the rest to you guys?" And she quickly dismissed that, and she said, "All right, it's time for the prosecution to ask for their first witness." They brought the jury in, and that's what happened next.
And then, so he sat down, he apologized again to Judge Cannon, and they were able to call their first witness to the stand. This is the Secret Service agent who spotted Ryan Ruth hiding in that tree line and who saw the barrel of the gun. For more on that, we want to bring in our Nikita Ramos, who was also in court with us watching these developments. Nikita?
And the prosecution started off strong with its first witness, that U.S. Secret Service agent who testified to staring down the barrel of that gun when he allegedly foiled the attempted assassination of President Donald Trump. Robert Fricano took the stand today, saying that he was a site agent for Trump at the time, in which he protected the Trump International Golf Course as well as the people who were on site that day. He says that he scanned about 1 to 2 holes ahead of Trump as he was playing, and while Trump was on the 5th hole, he was scanning something that he described as abnormal on the 6th hole, and he described that to be a face in the brush that grunted and smiled at him. He says that he first thought that this was a homeless man until he noticed the barrel of an AK-47 style rifle pointed directly at his face. He identified Ruth as that person in court today, wearing a gray suit, a white shirt, and a blue striped tie. Now, this is just one of many witnesses that are set to take the stand during this trial, which is expected to run for the next 2 to 3 weeks. Erin, Felicia?
All right, thank you so much. And Nikita, you know, the jury was sworn in yesterday. It took them 3 days. They vetted 180 roughly potential jurors, which again took 3 days. The jury sworn in 12 jurors, and there were then 4 alternates.
So we want to take a look now at the makeup of that jury.
12 sworn jurors.
12 sworn jurors.
Yeah, there were 4 white men, 1 black man, 6 white women, and 1 black woman. In fact, yesterday in court, Ruth claimed that the government was being racially biased by striking African-American potential jurors out. The government disputed that, actually called it a frivolous objection. And the 4 alternates who were also in court today, we saw them, 2 white men and 2 white women. They'll be sitting in just in case they are needed.
All right, stay with WPBF 25 News as we continue to cover this trial till the very end. We'll be inside the courtroom and bring you any new developments throughout the day today. If you want to get those updates sent to you on your cell phone, you can download our mobile news app and make sure to turn on push alerts.
That's right. Security pretty tight out here. Very peaceful. There is a Trump supporter showing some, flying some flags, kind of walking around, but very peaceful. A lot of security kind of setting the scene. Again, witnesses still testifying this afternoon.
Yes, we'll have much more on that for you coming up on WPBF 25 News at 4, 5, and 6 a little bit later on today. Tiffany, back to you.
Aaron and Felicia, thank you.
And we now want to get to some breaking news.